Have you ever noticed how some people attract opportunities wherever they go? They get invited to speak at events, companies reach out to them with offers, people trust their recommendation, they launch a digital product, and people actually buy. It's not luck. It is simply what we call good personal branding. The thing is, whether you realize it or not, you have a personal brand. We all do. The only thing is, are you shaping it intentionally or are you allowing others shape it for you? In this video, I'm going to show you how to build a personal brand from scratch that people remember even if you're just starting at 0 followers. We start with the first most important question. What is a personal brand? A personal brand is simply how the world sees you. It is a combination of your skills, experience, values, personality, and reputation. Your personal brand influences the kind of opportunities that come your way. Why should you build a personal brand? Building a personal brand has its benefits. 1. You can attract more opportunities. 2. You can attract more clients. 3. You build trust and a following. 4. It is easier for you to launch a product and be successful. 5. You can easily attain career growth. And 6. People actually remember you for something. Now, I am going to walk you through how to build a personal brand. The first thing for you to do is to forget the traditional niche. One mistake that many people make is that they think they need to squeeze themselves into one tiny niche. But I am of a different opinion. Instead of squeezing yourself and becoming trapped into a tiny niche, you should become the niche yourself. People would always say, pick a niche, niche down. And I find that okay if you're just trying to build a social media account. But that is incomplete for a personal brand because in personal branding, you are the brand. People should be invested in you as a person. And as a person, you can evolve. So yes, you should get started with picking a thing, but know that you are allowed to evolve. You don't need to cage yourself in just a topic. Let me give you an example. I recently changed my display name on X from I am Victoria to Victoria Nebeli, and that's simply because I want my personal brand to be attached to my real name. And out of curiosity, I asked my audience a simple question. What do you know about me? People didn't just say things like she's the best Web3 educator or she talks social media and AI. They actually said things like she's a sweet girl full of educative stuff. She's a young woman who changes the mindset of her followers positively. She's the best coach and social media manager in Web3, and also she's a very gorgeous queen. She's a leader. She's absolutely smart. A woman of high value and potential. She's beauty with brains. She's a growth strategist. First thing that came to mind. 1 hour on her page changes your mindset completely in a positive way. She's so damn knowledgeable. And the list goes on. If you notice, none of those things are actually niches. They are the reputation I have built over time without even realizing it. Then I sat down for a few minutes and thought about why people actually answered that way. And I realized that over the years, I haven't only shared tips in one particular area, but I have continuously shared what I was learning, my mistakes, opportunities, my career journey, my wins, my failures, and so on. People weren't just consuming my content anymore. They were following my progress, and that's when I realized something very important. People don't build relationships with niches, they build relationships with people. I know another creator of more than 100,000 followers. She has built an incredible page around a particular topic. Every post she makes provides value and performs well, but one thing I noticed is the fact that I don't really know her. I only know the content, I don't know the person. If she gets suspended, let's say she loses her social media account, I would only miss the content and not the person. I probably wouldn't even bother to look her up on any other platform to find out if she created a new account or if she's back. I spoke to her about this and then she started posting more of herself. Little updates from her life, and guess what? Those posts barely get any engagement, and that's simply because over the years she has trained her followers to value the content and not the person behind the content. Comparing this to my personal experience, sometimes I post a picture of myself, my day, or what I wore to church, or a meal I made and how I went about it, or my experience living in the UK, and those posts perform just as well, even sometimes more than my educational posts. And that's simply not because they are more valuable, but simply because people have become invested in me and not just the information I share. That right there is the difference between growing an audience and building a personal brand. If tomorrow I decide to stop talking about Web3, social media, AI, and the likes, and I decide to talk about something else entirely, people would likely still stay because they're invested in me as a person. In fact, after spending years in my career in social media management, marketing, and community management, I am leaning more towards brand strategy right now, and I've started making content about that. And my audience are still invested, not because they are attached to the new topic brand strategy, but because they are attached to the person that they have been following. The point here is not to say don't pick a niche, because I just told you right now that I'll be talking a lot about brand strategy. So of course you can get started with talking about a particular thing. The point here is don't just build a page around a topic, build a reputation around your person. And if you ever feel like you've outgrown that particular topic you started with, do not feel caged. Feel free to expand and talk about other things. In fact, it is at this point that you actually get to realize if you've successfully built a strong personal brand. In a nutshell, don't get trapped by a niche. Use a niche to help people discover you and let your personality be the reason why they stay. To get started right away with building your personal brand, answer 3 questions. 1. Who are you as a person? 2. Who do you help? 3. What is your message? You can also go ahead to answer questions like, why does your message matter? What's the story behind this message? Your message can be anything. It could come from a belief that you hold that many people disagree with. It could be something you've overcome. It could be something that people constantly ask you for help with. It could be an experience that you want people to have. I know a friend back then in school that had a pot tummy, and then he started working out. He was very consistent and he was very determined to get a flat tummy. 2 years later, he got that six pack that he has always wanted, and now he has a personal brand around fitness and wellness. You see what I mean? Another lady I know believes so strongly in feminism, and she's built a personal brand around this. I also know other women who have very successful careers and they've built a brand around their career. Some other people are business gurus. They have launched multiple businesses. Some are failed, some are successful, and they decide to start a personal brand explaining their experience, their struggles, how they failed, how they were successful, and they're doing well, growing a personal brand around that. So you see, your thing can actually come from your experience, it can come from your career path, it can come from anything. Just pick a thing, start talking about it, but don't get trapped and think that you cannot talk about any other thing for the rest of your life. One thing I need you to always remember is the fact that for a social media page, people follow for information, while for a personal brand, people follow for you. You are the brand. Now, the next thing is your content approach. When you're just starting out a personal brand, it is audience first, not you first. That's the irony. So instead of thinking, what do I want to post today? Think, what does my audience need? What is an it for them? Because this is actually what will start giving you traction and earn you a following. When it comes to creating content, we have broadly 2 types of content: the good content and the bad content. A good content is audience first, it is clear, it is structured, it provides value, has a strong hook, and take your audience on a journey. While a bad content is self-centered, confusing, random, no takeaway, and very easy to scroll past. At all times, especially when you're just getting started, you have to be very intentional to ensure that any content you put out is good content, because this is actually what will start to grow you a following. You also have to be very consistent. Note that you don't need to be on all platforms at the same time. You can start first with one platform. Pick a platform that excites you. It could be Substack, it could be X, which is formerly Twitter, it could be TikTok, it could be YouTube, it could be LinkedIn. Just pick a platform that actually excites you and start consistently. Then later you can branch out. For example, I started with X, I grew my following to 30,000 plus followers, and then I expanded to TikTok and grew there by 21,000 followers, and now I am on YouTube trying to grow my subscribers. And right now I'm just at 13 subscribers, but I started with one platform before thinking of expanding to other platforms. Just pick one and stay very consistent. Let's talk about authenticity. One of the most important parts of personal branding is authenticity. You can, of course, gain inspiration from other creators. In fact, one thing I believe in is if you want to get to a point Z, then look at the people that are already at that point Z and try to learn from them. So yes, you can gain inspiration from other creators that you want to be like, but never ever copy them. Just gain inspiration. Just because a creator you admire talks aggressively or talks very slowly doesn't mean that you should try to speak that same way. You need to be you. You need to bring in your unique self. That is what makes you you. So gain inspiration, but create in your own style. In conclusion, building a personal brand is not just about being famous. It is standing and being known for something that matters. It is getting people to be invested in you and not just your content, because most opportunities go to people that are remembered.